the boulevard. So,
where are we going?
Okay, so we are going to the travel meeting to a beach bar, and we just want to share the idea of the mobility and that traveling is awesome and it could be cheap and easy and fun and great.
Full of adventures.
Yeah, and interesting people. And yeah.
Show me your t-shirt.
Autos of race, so it's hitchhiking race.
Babe, where are you going?
I'm going to travel meeting where we will talk, I think, with maybe other travelers and just with other people about traveling.
No way! Wanna go on the other side, yeah, because there will be not so much people.
Wszystko dobrze słyszę. Bardziej w sumie z przodów, ale już jest tam.
Actually, I'm here from curiosity, I guess, because I'm not a traveler yet, and yeah, I was very curious about it. So I would like to start.
Then you're in the right place.
So I believe that we can start. So hello everybody on our travel meeting. This is meeting made by organization called ESN, which stands for Erasmus Student Network, and basically ESN, the local level, is helping Erasmus people who came to our town, and this meeting is about sharing the idea of traveling, sharing the idea of mobility, and we just want to show you that traveling could be really easy and could be cheap and it's fun. So, and I met Alex 2 years ago. I was couchsurfing in Vienna. Do everybody knows what is couchsurfing? Couchsurfing, I would say platform?
Yes.
Platform, website, application. You can request somebody from Wrocław to
share his couch.
Yeah, to share his couch, to share his bed or something. You can just grab some... Yeah, no, it could be, it depends.
That's the idea. You don't have to sleep both in one bed, but...
Yeah, it depends.
But it can happen.
Let's just say a place to stay.
Yeah, a place to stay. That's great. And I have no references. I just join the couchsurfing and I request Alex if we can stay at his place. And that's how we met, as I said, almost 2 years ago. And now he just revisiting me. I'm now his host, and the idea is that when I met him, it was like that. We went for the party the first day. I was with Kuba as well, so we said that, you know, we are a bit tired. We want to go to bed. We want to go to sleep. And he was like, okay, so you have the keys, and I will stay at the party. And I was like, okay, but is there anybody at your house? No, but you can have my keys. So, you know, he's a crazy person, you know? He gives the keys to his house.
For two Polish people who he don't know at all and have absolutely no references on his profile.
But it was so nice. Wojciech was really appreciate that. It was like, hey, somebody accepted us and he's a vegetarian. It's so nice.
So that's why I thought that it would be a good idea to have such a meeting to, as I said, to share the idea of mobility and so on and so on. So they will tell you the story.
That's a long story. So actually I was a very active and, as he said, crazy couch surfer. So I hosted like maybe over 200 people in 1.5 years. Most of the time like big groups, 2, 3, 4 people. Most people what I had was like 8 couchsurfers at the time in my house, in a 2-room apartment, 38 square meters. And actually the thing was that I planned already to travel around the world by hitchhiking, and I quit my apartment, my job, and I want to leave, but we felt in love, so I didn't cancel that dream, but we stayed a bit longer in Vienna to do this travel together.
You asked how can it be that at one moment like everything changed. So now you have the answer. I have some question. Yeah, if you want to add something, if you want to ask something, you don't have to wait till the end. You can ask.
Mostly when we finish the phrase or the sentence.
Yeah. I live in Wrocław. I have many friends. I have well-paid job. I'm enjoying living in Wrocław. Why should I travel?
When you travel, you can be yourself. Exploring the world is exploring yourself. You exit your comfort zone and you have new challenges, you learn new things, you see truly what you miss from home, what brings you happiness, what makes you pleasure. Having a job for 20 years but you are unhappy, but you don't want to change it because you're in your comfort zone. You can do it blindly, you can do it with a hangover, you can do it when you are depressive, you can do it when you are happy. You get in this monotony, in this routine. And especially, it's my opinion, it's all just my opinion, so it don't have to be right or it doesn't have to be true, it's only my personal opinion as I see those things. I saw quite a lot of things in my life, I did quite a lot of interesting things in all kinds of ways. I moved out from home when I was 19, I moved to Germany to study economics. Actually I wanted to start to study theater, acting, but my whole family was against, so I started to study economics, but that was really not mine. I broke up after 1.5 years, then I went to army in France without speaking any French word. I was 10 months there, then I broke up the army, I went to Austria, moved to Vienna to Austria to study psychology. I didn't get in because my English was weak. English is my fourth language, so my English was really bad till 3 years ago. Then I moved back to Romania, I studied marketing, then I moved to Austria. I worked in a bar for 1 year, I did insurances, I worked in security, then I was a security supervisor and a fireman in a pharma company. Then I got self-employed and moved back to Romania. Then I moved to London 10 months, there I worked in catering, barkeeping, whatever it gives. Then I was 6 months in New York and Washington. Then I went 3 months to Nepal. Then I moved back to Austria for 1 year, and then I really decided I want to live my life as I want. I want to be happy and not just to try to fit in and make my parents happy and the society and people who expect from me to be like them or whatever. So I choose to go my path, my way, because I felt unhappy and I had this pressure that if I don't do it now and wait, like most of the people say, I'm waiting till I got in pension or rent or how you call it, and then I will start to travel, but most of them, they are too tired or they are sick when they are so old, so they just regret. And there was an interview about people who are on their dying bed, and they was asked what will they change in their life. They mostly regret things what they didn't try, what they want to try and they didn't try.
Thank you. You just, I have some question and you just answer it in a way, so okay. So I know that you was traveling alone and now you will travel together for the next 2 years, and what the difference is and what kind of travel you like the most, like when you were alone or now? I know that you're here, but
Man, what a question.
okay, what's the differences? Maybe not what you prefer.
I cannot take that risk, which I could take it when I was alone. So I'm with my wife, and my first focus is to protect her, and I cannot accept certain things. So as a person, I was 7 years a wrestler. I did special forces in the French army, so I think I can take care of myself, so I'm really not afraid. And I think if you bring good vibes and you don't look really scared and you are not afraid and you don't expect that something bad will happen, you attract what you think. So if you have this positive wave and you believe in humanity, most of the time there are always exceptions. So I don't take that at 12 in the evening, go in a car in a truck with two guys who look really not safe. So it's not always that point. But if you are a good person and you are honest, most of the time they appreciate that and they are really helpful. So we started as an experiment. Actually, after Vienna, we quit again our apartment. We want to move to Norway to work 3 months to get some money together and then to start our travel. But we went to Russia because we married. She changed her name, so to change her her documents, her passport. But you can tell this story with Russia. Okay, so we went to Russia for around 2 weeks to change her documents, her passport, and we ended up to stay there 2.5 months. We give it a try. We started our YouTube channel before with how to change your lifestyle dramatically. We did a really comfort zone challenge. We started our YouTube channel with that. Was quite okay with the results. I mean, not that we had super much followers or something like that. It was absolutely just as an experiment. We didn't expect anything. And I told the guys before that we usually never have expectations, because then you cannot be disappointed. You can be disappointed just if you have expectations. So we start this travel back to Hungary, which will be like 5,500 kilometers. We did already almost 4,500 kilometers by hitchhiking.
About the money, because you want to travel for the next 2 years, so I don't know, you just won a ticket on the lottery or what? Because you have to be rich to travel, yeah?
No, that's not true. We worked hard before, so like I think the last 6 months before we went to Russia, we worked really hard. Maybe sometimes 16, 17 hours a day, sometimes 5-6 days a week, because really we want to do that and we want to be independent. We don't have the money for the whole journey. We have an approximately budget between 15-20 euros a day.
For you too? Or?
For both, yeah,
okay.
For both. So for accommodation, we will use as much as we can couchsurfing, but we will have a tent with sleeping bags, so we have not a problem to do this wild trip. We hitchhike, so if you want to travel cheap, there are three main reasons which cost a lot. One is of them accommodation, which we solve somehow with couchsurfing and tenting, but we can also volunteer in a hostel or in a resort, or doing some promo videos for them and ask for accommodation or maybe food or something like that. Then second one is how you go from A to B. That way we use hitchhiking. In some of the places, in worst case, as plan B, you can also use BlaBlaCar, for example, or taking a bus, or walking a bit until the next train station. Third thing is food, but most of the time, in a lot of countries, you can even eat cheaper than in your hometown. So, especially that we use couchsurfing, mostly we can cook at their kitchen, and we cook for them as well. So it's quite a win-win situation, I think. Countries, for example, like India and Nepal, we want to volunteer for 2-3 months. There usually you get free accommodation and food. We started our YouTube channel. Vlog is mostly for the pressure to edit, to film, to get experience. We want to do the daily vlog. We want to do a whole movie about this 2 years journey. We want to do, first of all, at the beginning, 2 documentaries. One is about couchsurfing and one is about freedom and happiness. What's mean for you happiness and what's mean for you freedom, and what you sacrifice for your happiness and for your freedom. And the third thing is that I start already the book about my life, what I lived before I started traveling, and she's doing like a journey.
Now I think that we already knew that you're a crazy person, as I said at the beginning. For normal people like us, how can we start our journey? Because maybe I don't want to leave everything and go travel around the world, but how can I start my first trip, my first hitchhiking travel? How can I prepare to that, and why I shouldn't be afraid of that?
I'm the quote guy, I love quotes, and I try to live my life after quotes. First of all, I have to tell you the 5-second rule. So the 5 seconds rule is, if your brain have a thought and you don't take an action, after 5 seconds, your brain starts to have thoughts, why to not do it, excuses, why it can be dangerous. Just so the longer you wait, the more negative impacts your brain will have, and you will find so many excuses to not do that. Then the question was.
The question was that if you are not.
Yeah, the thing with the fear is very interesting, because if you run to it, it's run away. Okay, it depends from person to person how comfortable you are, what is for you the minimum, what is for you low expectation. So it's depends always from person to person. This is really difficult, but if you don't try it, you will never know the answer. Once my boss asked me if I ever took a wrong decision, and most of the people say yes, in my life I took wrong decisions, but it's not really true, because when you take a decision, most of the time by the circumstances which are at the moment is the best decision, because you don't want to do something bad to you. So for the details which you have at that moment is the best decision.
So it's like what they say, you know, the worst decision you can make is the decision the action you don't take, right? At least you'll have some experience for that, which is worth all the time.
Okay. Somebody is decided that he or she wants to start traveling. So what should be the first step?
For example, by couchsurfing, there is also hangout. So you can be a host, you can be a surfer, and you can do hangout. Hangout you can do also in your city. So for example, we met through hangout.
So it's the first step.
Could be the first step. Taking your backpack, put your stuff inside, and going to hitchhike on the street could be the other step. So it depends on how curious you are. I was so sad at the point in life where I had to quit my university, and I said I will not return back in my hometown. I just took my luggage and I went to the army without telling anybody, and I called first time at home after 3.5 months. It depends on how much courage you have.
Actually, I think that you're talking about an idea of traveling and an idea how to start to travel. And I think that the question was more about the technical stuff, like how to start really. Where should I start? Like I don't know what I really have to do to start. Like an example was do the hangouts on the couchsurfing.
First of all,
the first thing was nice to meet people, hang out, talk to them.
What you expect from a traveling? You want to do sightseeing or seeing the architectures, or just knowing local people, or going for parties? Then choose a country, choose a city. I was very lucky that I hosted so many people, and I felt like when I would be on holiday, so they just came to me, and I saw how simple they travel, and with such a low budget for such a long period. For me it was really unbelievable. I could not believe. If you have the possibility, you can also host people, trying the app like for hosting people, host 2-3 people to see how is this, how you like this interaction, because it's very interesting if somebody comes in your house and you know almost nothing about him. So a totally stranger come in your house and you have to start to talk. You invite him for a tea and you start to share experience. It's a really strange feeling.
You know, I learned from Alex so many things. We were talking like for the whole night. I think one of the best first steps that you can coach someone who is from, maybe he will be traveling all around the world and he will be like really experienced one. So from relationship, as I said, couchsurfer host, you can learn so much. So it could also be your first step and you don't have to leave your house.
One very important detail by couchsurfing, because a lot of people think, okay, but strangers, but there's a very important detail, because, for example, if you are afraid or you don't believe so much in humanity, when somebody requests that he want to stay at your place, you can check him through how many references he has. That means in how many places he stayed already and how many people he hosted. Because every people, like on Amazon for example, they do a review about these people. And you can see how many times he hosted people and how many times he traveled. And people write about him. And you can, because everybody can write on their profile whatever they want. They can tell you so wonderful lies that you think that this will be the most pleasant experience in your life, and it will be not. But if he has 20, 30, 50 references and all are positive and they are really pleasant and you enjoy this person, then you can maybe lose this fear and invite him and have this.
Sometimes they have 0 comments and they are so nice. So.
Yeah, and I was his
First couch surfer. So
Yeah.
I had two references from Nepal.
And I have 0, so yeah.
And the last day when they went at my house, I had to go to Hungary, so I told them, guys, here are the keys. I leave to Hungary, and please throw the keys in the postcard. And there was like,
Yeah.
for example, I'm a couch surfer, she's a couch surfer, he's a couch surfer, he's a couch surfer, he's a couch surfer. I don't know about the rest. Hopefully, you are or you will be. But we can write, for example, from you a reference, because they have references from hosts, from surfers, and from hangouts, or you meet somehow. Personal. Did you ever argue with a taxi driver? Do you still drive taxi? Okay. Here is the point that you can rely on the references.
I think now you can tell him our story, that you wanted to go to your own apartment, but without your keys. And now it's a good time for this story, I think.
We was in the disco. The guys was very tired, and I had a great party.
Yeah,
So they want to go home. We went from my home to this disco pub. 10 minutes, but because we was a bit tired, we did it in 12-13 minutes. So at 2 in the night, they said, we want to go home. And I said, I don't want to go home. So here's the keys, you can go home.
It was the first night?
Yes.
Yes.
First night? Yeah. First night, first experience for all of us. I give them the keys. After 1.5 hours, they said in the microphone that we take the last order because the club will close. I was also a bit tired. I want to go home. I got a bit lost, so instead of this 10-15 minutes, I did it in 25 minutes. So after 2 hours, I give them the keys. I arrived home. I had a couch surfer in my house, a girl from Hong Kong. Okay, so I told the guys, you have the keys. When you go inside, downstairs, you move this little thing, and then I can just go inside, no problem. Of course, it was closed. I tried to call them. No internet, but I say how? They have my Wi-Fi password, so they arrived home, they should have. None of them, nothing. It was 3 o'clock, 3:15, and I called and I called and I called, but I didn't want to wake up the girl from Hong Kong. And even if I wake her up and they are not at home, she cannot open the door because there is no key inside, and she could not even come out of the house. So I called, and I was just thinking, they meet some girls and disappeared. They did something and the police catch them, or they got in a fight and they are in the hospital. But how should I go in the house? Then there was a party downstairs. I could go up to my apartment and I was knocking and ringing, but this girl was sleeping like she would not even be in the house. The guys was nowhere. And I just think about to go in the park to sleep, but how will I find them? How the girl will come out in the morning to go to the airport? So after half of an hour thinking and struggling, I met those guys. And I asked, you were on the way home. So the guys, here was the disco, here was my home. They went from here to here, which is like 10 minutes.
We took a metro.
To the main metro station. They went in the city center, which is like 20 minutes, but they have to wait 15 minutes for the metro. They wait another 15 minutes for another metro, which came 12-30 metro stations to end 10 minutes home to me. So they did the city like this in 2.5 hours. I could not believe them. I was like,
Fuck man, as you said, we were tired, right?
Yeah, and
it was really hard to find your home.
And the point is that we were with some locals, and they said that it's the best way.
Yeah, to take the metro. That's right.
Yeah.
And you asked if there are sometimes some troubles. You were standing in front of his doors, and he was like, "What the fuck have I done?"
Yeah.
yeah, so I was thinking about if I should ever give the keys to somebody else. I had again the same story after 60 other couch surfers. I don't know, it's the moment to tell those kind of stories. I mean, from 100 experiences, 5 was I would not do it again. 15% was okay. 30 was nice. 50 was really nice. I mean, the rest of the 70, the 70% to the 70% was great. with 30% I still keep the contact and we are friends, and maybe with 10% we are friends for life. And I had 62 years old couch surfer who ran the marathon. He was PhD. He did his PhD in USA about stomach cancer and so on. And he came to me. He ran the marathon, so he was a really cool guy. It's like with girls, you know. If you don't try it, you don't know how it is. You have maybe to get some 2-3 wrong bad experiences, but you will not give up. Now you want to have a wife. Or now it's still the experiment of the traveling, but we will go to Hungary to my parents. Then we will start to travel around the world.
So just before the trip, it was Austria?
Yes, we live together in Austria.
How do you feel like? Where's your place? Where's your home?
Home is where you set your anchor. When you feel home, you are home. Sometimes you can be at your parents' apartment in your hometown and you feel super stranger. You don't belong there. I'm very spiritual, but my parents are very rationalist, very old school, but very open-minded. They always try to fit in, to be this nice child. It's always this battle between your brain and your heart, I think you cannot hide this pressure from your heart all the time. It's always you give something and in the other part you lose something. My book, for example, calls Psycho Thoughts in a School Bag. At the end of the book, for example, I wrote some things which I will tell myself if I will be 10 years old. Be curious.
Okay, so anyone have any question?
Actually, I would like to listen to this story from the side of Jane.
First of all, I'm really sorry. I have to say a lot, but I'm quite shy person and I try to do something with that, but I can't do nothing. Before I met Alex, I was very, very, very different than I am now.
Posh Russian girl?
Yes, I can say like this. I changed a lot. I saw life from other side, and if you asked me like 1.5 years ago that will you travel by hitchhiking and will I use couch surfing, I say, are you crazy? No, never, and it's not my style, these people are crazy. And when I knew just about couch surfing, I said, what? It's so hard.
Tell them, okay, you got bombarded with my couch surfer and
shock therapy.
When she came to visit me, I always had couch surfers. So, but tell them your first experience when we had the couch surfer. I think she was Francisca.
It was so great. The girl was so cool and she was so kind and we talked a lot. Usually I don't talk so much.
That's not the problem if we are together.
Yes, and I say, wow, that's great. But all people are so different, and that you find a cool person, it's so rarely. I thought at that time that it's really rarely, because at that time I had a very, very bad opinion about humanity, about all together. I think that everybody wants something from you, everybody uses you, and it can be like just for pleasure or just he's kind or something.
And your first experience with hitchhiking?
My first experience with hitchhiking was three weeks ago. Yeah, I've never tried it before, and we started from Kazan to actually to Cheboksary, but we have never been there.
150 kilometers, but we did from the beginning 400.
And when I took this cart and when we were on the road and I just stepped and took this card, and showed it to drivers, I felt myself like I had so many questions in my head, like, Jane, what are you doing? It's not for you. Are you crazy? You had such a nice life, and everything. But on the other side, I say, wow, it's so cool. It's so great emotions. It was a challenge for me that I have to smile and I have to do something. I look at faces of the drivers and they say like, please stop, please stop. It's not so easy in Russia. And I know about that, and everybody say to us like, don't do it, are you crazy, it's very dangerous, nobody will stop, and if somebody will stop, they will do something with you.
So how do you like that?
I
How it was?
really enjoyed it. Everybody was listening, I could talk by my own, I feel like in heaven. It was really nice. I hope I could give some good advices. Maybe I motivate some people to travel more, to not overthink the situation, to not have that fear. I don't know, I hope the message came over. Maybe I scared them a bit, maybe I motivate them, I don't know now.